Hello, dear colleagues. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we are starting our 5th meeting of the Experience Exchange program. And today we will discuss implementation of online format on the example of transportation and logistics sector. And I should remind you some rules of our communication to make it more effective. So we use Zoom, and I would ask you to mute yourself if you are not speaking and you are not asking questions at the moment. If you want to ask a question, please raise your hand or wait for the time after the speech. Or you can also use the chat. And I should remind you that if you want to rewatch this meeting or if you want to share it, you can use the link. We have shared it in the chat in the beginning. So you also can rewatch the previous meetings if you have missed them. And I offer to look through the program. Today we have here our international expert in aircraft maintenance, Mr. Norair Khachaturyan, and he will tell you about implementation of online competition model in his skill. Then we will have an overview of Ulyanovsk Aviation Technical College, the venue aircraft maintenance competition is organized on. And we have with us Mr. Ildar Khuzin. And then we'll have some try skills, because we had a request from you to show how try skills can be organized in online format. So let's start. And I give the floor to the international expert in aircraft maintenance, Mr. Norair. Norair, please.
Аня, меня слышно?
Да, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, what about video? Do you see me or it is
No.
freezed?
It is black screen.
Wow. Just a minute, please.
Some technical issues, but I suppose if it's not a problem for all of us, we can start without video, because the information you share is very appreciated. Oh, now we can see you.
Sure.
There are some problems with connection. Sorry for that. Let us wait for a minute. our expert has some issues with connection. I offer maybe to see, to check who of us is from transportation and logistics sector. Please, maybe you will share your experience and your skill in the chat, or maybe you want to say several words. Who is from transportation and logistics sector? Well, we can see Norair.
Yes. Okay, very good. Do you see me?
But
okay?
We cannot hear.
Okay, can I start? Anastasia, do you see me?
Почему-то вас не видит Анна, но все остальные, я так понимаю, видят и слышат.
Да, я вижу.
Okay, very good. Sorry guys, I had some problems with internet connection, and now I have to use my phone. Okay, thank you everyone who is here. I'm glad to meet everyone. Unfortunately, I cannot see you, and maybe there are some guys that we have met before. I don't know, no matter. I'm glad to speak to you, to everyone, and to tell some about our skill and how you can do this in your countries. Okay, just a brief summary and of our skill. Russia, the first time Russia participated in aircraft maintenance skill in 2015. It was in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Brazil. And just only one expert went there, and he was observer. And he was supposed to start this motion and this skill in our country, but I don't know what happened, and he did not do that. In 2017, I was implemented in WorldSkills Russia as an international expert, and on this time, we came to competition with a competitor. Okay, and we were not so successful in Abu Dhabi, but we took some very important experience how to organize, how to arrange competitions, how to arrange training in our country. And it was a very important moment. And I just can say that we launched our skill at that time. Okay, now what is today we have our national competition, and we had 7 competitors from 7 regions of Russia. And as for junior skill, we have 5 competitors from 5 regions. Okay, and this competition isn't usual. Because of this pandemic situation in the world, we have to conduct this competition online. Okay, well, what is the gist of this competition? Every competitor demonstrates his work in his own region, and no one goes to everywhere. Okay, everyone stays in his own region and work in his college, or maybe it's some plant, I don't know. Okay, and we control their work by video and audio, of course. Okay, and how we communicate with competitor, with the competition site, with competition venue, and every competition venue has a technical expert who has a connection with us, and I mean us, I mean SMT. It is a skill management team. Okay, now we are two here, but some people are about to come here and join us. And what is special? It's not easy. It's not usual. It's not easy. Yes, to see this work and to judge, to assess. It's very difficult and demands accuracy from marking expert. And okay, and the main reason we should obey is to make absolutely equal circumstances for every region, so that no one will have priority or preferences. Okay, and this is the main issue, the main matter we have to provide. So, and this is the difference. And usually we have one competition site, usually it's some city and maybe some expo that can consist in many skills, many people. Yes. Okay. And this is the difference that now we have to make an online competition. Oh. And can I see the next page of this? Just a minute, please. Sorry, I have to open one file. Okay, if you see the page number 5 of this presentation, it's a workstation layout, and you can see it's just typical. You see, okay, every workstation can have some differences and not so important. Of course, we can admit these differences, but in base, every workstation layout should be equal. Okay, it's easy to provide if we have one competition site, but it's a little difficult if we have several ones. Okay, and then as for infrastructure list, the same situation with this. We have to check that every competition site has the same list of equipment, the same list of instrument, and the benches, tables, and the furniture, etc. It's obligatory. It's duty of chief expert and deputy chief expert to provide, to control this, and before competition, the skill competition manager must review and update and this infrastructure list in partnership with the technical observer. Technical observer, he is responsible to equip for equipment of competition site. Okay, and the competition manager and the technical observer are in constant communication with each other. It's a very important moment. Okay. Requirements for venue equipment. These requirements are common for every skill, and you can see that it's a full compliance with the infrastructure list, full compliance with the layout plan, and the stable communication. Yes, it's a very important moment, because now today we are testing these communication lines, video and audio, and frankly, we have very many problems with this, because video should be in uninterruptible stream. It should be constant with no any interference, with no any breaks, and it's very important and quite difficult to provide. And the more regions participate in competition, the more difficult to provide this requirement. Okay, but I hope we will succeed. Okay. As for preparation, these 2 days are very important, C-2 and C-1. On C-2 day, we check skill competition, skill management team. We check, comply every competition site with the layout plan and the infrastructure list and cameras installed and work correctly. We check all of this. Okay, any questions? Okay, my friends, I continue.
Dear
Okay.
colleagues, we would ask you to mute your microphones while you are not speaking, or if you have any questions, please let us know in the chat.
I'm not finished yet. I just want to know, am I clearly speaking? Do they clearly see me and hear me? No?
Yeah, we see you and we hear you.
Very good. Okay, then I continue, okay?
Yes, please.
So on C-2 day, as I said, we control these 3 items, okay? It's compliance of every competition site with a layout plan and infrastructure list, and cameras work, also we check. And C-1 day, this is the day of familiarization. On this day, competitors test equipment functionality. They can try every tool, they can try every bench, any equipment, they can try how it works. And if they have some questions they can solve, they can get answers from us, skill management team, or from technical expert. And this is the only day the competitors can try equipment at work before competition start. And that is why for competitors it's very important, And if you know how to be best prepared for this, I can answer. I will try. I will try to answer and to give the best suggestions for this. Also, on this day, we do passports, IDs check of every competitor. And workshop managers upload signed protocols to Moodle. Skill management team checks if they are filled incorrectly and signed. As for test project and for our skill, our test project is secret, absolutely secret. No any part of test project can be revealed, can be opened before competition start. And this is the principle. And we came to this to provide equal circumstances to everyone. And this is the best way on this moment. This is the best way to find the best competitor. Secret test project. Okay, and of course it's not absolutely blind because they can guess what they are supposed to do at the competition. They can guess on the base of infrastructure list. Of course, if they see some kind of sheet metal, some kind of spare parts, they can guess what test project can be. Okay, but it's very little. So how we design test project. Generally, test project is modified. It is modified test project from World Skills competition. We do not copy one-to-one test project, but we modify and try to make it interesting, maybe more interesting for our country. And also every country can do for its own purpose and modified test project, World Skills test project, and implement it in its own national competitions. And as for online competition, what we have now, and unfortunately, we cannot do some modules of test project. What are these modules? It's modules connected with fault findings or visual inspection. And I can tell you why. Because fault finding module demands absolutely blindness. No one should know, no one should guess what faults can be. And anyway, if you try and if you do your best to cover and to close this part of model, when one region performs, I don't know how, but other regions can have information, and it's not very good. It's it does not allow us to find and to reveal the best competitor, you see. And that is why we have to exclude some modules like this I said, fault finding and visual inspection. And on this reason, of course, a test project for online competition is not complete. And I don't know, maybe in future we will we will be more successful in this, and we will find the way how to provide equal circumstances for every region, and on the matter of these two modules, visual inspection and fault finding. Maybe. Okay, and the next. Oh, sorry. Competition. If we say about usual competition, then some activities are common for everyone, such as briefings, different briefings, safety briefings, some information briefings are common for everyone. For online competition, we have to upload all information in some common resources, online resources, and we have to conduct briefing every time for every time zone, for every region separately. Okay, and also I would recommend for skill management team to have some spare ways to communicate with competition sites, except that they have in common, such as a Moodle system, WebEx system. I would recommend to use also some personal messengers like WhatsApp Messenger or maybe Facebook Messenger, because the risk to lose internet connection is very high, and not to stop competition. I would recommend to use your personal equipment. And the page number 11, you can see these two pictures of our workstation. It's a skill management team. She is here. You can see my colleague, and she is watching about some workplaces. Yes. You can choose how many pictures you want to see on your screen, and you may see just one picture, except the handwork of every competitor, or in common picture of his motion, etc., of his work. We cannot go to competition site physically. We cannot go there. We watch just by video, by cameras, and try to find the best competitor. Good. So assessment. If you have ever met assessment procedure, and then you know that we assess putting mark in marking scheme in usual competition, and here now in online competition we have to put our marks directly in the CIS system. It's electronic, and we do not fill some paper. We don't fill, and we don't do any copy, and it's absolutely electronic, absolutely online. Okay. And okay, and aspects we assess the same that we do at the normal competition, but the way with online competition, the way to do this is a little more difficult, because it's we demand technical expert to go right to the to competitor and to show exactly what he does, and we have to see competitors work in details, you see, and that is why to do it by camera online, it's more difficult than in usual competition. So for this reason, you have to have absolutely clear picture and good internet connection. Okay, and the communication with competition management center. A competitor cannot communicate with marking and the assessment team, with marking experts. He cannot communicate if he has some question to experts, if he wants to make some information clear, he can address his request to skill management team via technical expert who is always on the competition side. It's principle, also it's principle, so that every competitor will be in equal circumstances. And on the time of communication, we have to stop time watch, and we try to understand what is the question, what is a request of competitor, and to give him the best answer, and then he can continue. But all communication is done via technical expert. So technical expert has a very big responsibility. Yes, he is responsible for downloading test project to printing if a competitor wants to have it in hard copy. And also he is responsible for uploading the competitors' work as for handwritings and some scheme that competitors may do, and all details that competitors have made by hand, we can assess later when competitor leaves the competition. And also how we do measurement, also we do not do it directly by ourselves. We ask technical expert to help us, and he does it. He does measurement. So of course it's not everything I wanted to tell you, but sorry, I don't have enough time. So if you have some questions, I'll try to answer now. And if I'm not able to do it now, I can do it later, by letter or by any messages.
Thank you very much, Norair, for sharing your experience and for joining us. Thank you. And thank you for your time, because I know that you are very busy on the venue today. Dear colleagues, if you have any questions, I offer to leave them in the chat and we will forward them to Norair. And now we should let him go back to his work. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, guys. I wish you success in your work. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And we go on. We have one more very interesting speaker from Aviation College, Mr. Ildar. Ildar, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
So I give Ildar the floor and he will tell us how the venue is organized on Ulyanovsk Aviation Technical College and how this college lives with the World Skills movement.
Yeah, thank you.
Please.
Greeting to our foreign guest on college. My name is Ildar. Today I want to introduce our interregional skill center, and when we get a tour on it. Interregional skill center based on Ulyanovsk Aviation College. Skill center start working in 2017. The next slide, please. College involved in the world skill stream before then they get the status of skill center in 2015. College hosts all levels of competitions what meets world skill standards, regional and national. We got a demonstration exam already for 3 years. Maybe you hear demonstration exam. It's a new form of final entrance of vocational education in our country. Already several years, they got not only theoretical exams, but show their working skills. Results of this working process checked with world skill standards. The third, as I said in the first, our center hosts regional championships in 19 skills. These skills are from information technology, transport, logistics, and design spheres. Year to year, we try to start in new skills. As a case, in 2017, we got only 6 skills to compete, but as you see in 2020, we increase it in 19. Selection event. Selection event are one of interesting form of competition in selectional event to national final competition. Then every of 89 regions of our country finished his own regional competition. They gather in selected region what skills Russia choose. 3 last years we are chosen as hub for transport skills championships. Fifth, as you know, in this year our national championship become remote. Therefore, we are based for our best regional competitors in 12 skills. One more way to take a part in world skills is training courses for masters and vocational training teachers as one of the World Skills Academy certified center. Corporate competitions. As you may be here, we got a parallel line of championships for young specialists what finished high school and working in the high-tech corporations, a high-tech world skills championship. Corporate competitions is a selected event to choose the highly skilled person in the high-tech world skills championships in every corporate. Also, we got 3 certified areas as special skills center. There are working zones what have equipment and experts for the highest levels of our country. And one of the important process in our center, the training base of our national world skills team. The most parts of trainings host here. Here is the skills automation technology, heavy truck maintenance, aircraft maintenance, automobile repair, and car paintings. The next slide, please. Our skill center trains the competitors of following skills. It's web technologies plus juniors stream, graphic design technology, mechanical engineering CID, and junior stream, auto body repair plus 2 streams of juniors, aircraft maintenance plus juniors, heavy truck maintenance, car maintenance, and junior streams, IT software solutions for business, automobile technology plus 2 junior streams, welding and agricultural mechanic. We got 4 certified experts with skills of national level. And for last years, we trained about 200 specialists. 15 specialists are now trained and prepare different sorts of champs. The next slide, please. Skills are in that national competitions. We host 12 skills. Hope we succeed. Highest places skills you can show on your screen. The next slide, please. How is the competition organized? What group of specialists and with what responsibilities are involved? Each venue provides conditions for competitions to properly complete all modules of typical test project, taking into account skill-specific rules development by the expert community for each skill. During the competitions, no third person can enter the venue, so they could not afford the competition process. Only competitions, workshop manager, and in some skill competition, the assistant experts who help the expert group remotely conduct measurements, assess quality, monitors competitions performance at certain stage of work. The use of appropriate tools, etc., and allowed to be present in the venue. There is a live stream capturing the venue in general, as well as competition workstations. However, it's not just a video feed, but there are rather a video conference, enabling competitors to communicate with chief experts on all competitions, while experts can influence on the competition process at the venue. The venue equipment is checked in advance and exactly matches the infrastructure list approved by chief experts and WorkSkills Russia, which ensures compliance with one of the most important WorkSkills standards, equal conditions for all competitors. Difference between traditional and remote formats. The remote format has required robust preparation across all regions of Russia. Thus it can be said that many thousands of people are involved in the organizations of the WorkSkills Russia national competitions. Needless to say, to equip the venue is accordance with the infrastructure list requires additional equipment and efforts a workshop manager. But at the same time, the infrastructure and the experts will later help regions properly train competitions for future skills competitors. The only drawback, as I see, it was a remote format prevent competitors from fully enjoying the atmosphere of the WorkSkills Russia national competition, team spirit, and feel of victory during the award ceremony. Next slide, please. A couple words of building and layout. Each region have its own infrastructure, and it's a hard process to approve a working areas as a national final venues. But as we see today, we successfully solved this problem. The most part of the venues is approved, and we don't see the reason to reject the other venues. Communication with the Command Management Center. More than a month prior to the start of the competition, the expert community gives skill-specific trainings to workshop managers, while cameras at each venue are connected to an online platform, which will be used by management center experts to monitor and access competitors' performance of test projects. 2 weeks prior to the start of the competition, video communication is being checked and venue approval starts. The management center and the expert team remotely oversee all activities, and the competence venues are using footage from multiple cameras. Communication with the management center is maintained not only during the competition, but the rest of the time too, even at night, in order to ensure there's no interference by unauthorized persons. Assessment procedure. During the competition in auto body repair, an assistant expert is present at the venue to assess a test project under certain criteria. In the intermediate stage science, it will be impossible to do when the test project is already completed. During the assessment procedure, an assessing expert demonstrates his work via video communication to experts working remotely, quickly takes macro photos, explains or change, and the angle of footage is necessary. As we hear the Norair in aircraft maintenance, we saw the same situations, but this working process is for technical expert. And now I think I can start our virtual tour. I turn on the video on my phone. I think you see my picture. And now we start from aircraft mains area. As you see, we see the area is ready for our national championship, and we start from the first module. First module, it's a aircraft engine module. It's a GTD 350. In this model, our competitors are working with endoscope. By the endoscope, they keep inside the camera, inside the engine, and check the defects or engine, and then they fill
Ildar, you are muted.
The equipment, it's a part of the real aircraft machine, and with equipment, the competitors must lay their wires, lay the electrical components, meets the aircraft standards. Here is all models of our final championship, but we have another equipment what we use on the different championships as regional or national in traditional formats. This equipment is a steering system of the little plane. Okay, and also we have a model with the hydraulic system of the aircraft machine. In this model, the competitors changed any details in this equipment and try to maintain. Also, we got on this place the helicopter. It's Me Too, Russian helicopter, not the hashtag Me Too. It's just a helicopter, Me number 2. In this model, the competitor try to pre-flight and after flight maintenance. Also, we have this equipment that's a starter for big aviation engine, but we don't use it on the competitions. It's for demonstration exam and for our students. But now it's not at all. We have another areas in our competitions. I'll show you. Now we on the heavy truck maintenance competence. We've got the heavy truck KAMAZ. KAMAZ is manufacturer in Russia. On the KAMAZ, our competitors makes models of hydraulic system, engine system, and electrical system models. Also, we got truck engine. Truck engine, it's for diagnosis and finding the defects. Also, we got the gearbox of 16 gears. And also we got the the truck engine. The next area is area of automobile technology. Now we prepare our area for our final championships. That's why we don't have any car here, but we have a couple engines, couple gearboxes. I'll show you. Connection problems. Hope you see what that I show. The another skill area is agricultural mechanic competence. Now I'll show you the equipment in this area. In this area we have heavy tractors of Russian manufacturers and Italian manufacturers, Deutz-Fahr. Also, you see the diesel engine from the tractor. And this another car, but they have no place on there. That's why we stay here. The next area is as you see, out body repair. Here is the place where our competitors receive the skills to changing the structure and non-structure elements of car body. They receive the skill to making this surface of non-structural, and of course the different sorts of welding they tried here. Also, we have a measurement system
measuring system. It's a system for comparing the measurement of the real car and the manufacturer's measurements. The next zone, it's car painting competence. Here we got the camera for painting, the place for the preparing the car for painting, and many equipment to help the car painters to make his skill huge. Now that's all areas. What I want to show you. Anna.
Thank you very much, Ildar, for such a detailed and interesting venue tour. Now we have the whole image of the competition, and now we have the whole image of transportation and logistics sector. Thank you, Ildar, that you showed us almost all the skills in this sector. So, dear colleagues, do you have any questions to Ildar? If you have any, please raise your hand and ask, or leave them in the chat and we'll answer. No questions yet? So then we thank our speaker. I suppose that this sector, transportation and logistics sector, is one of the most difficult to be organized in online format, and it's a big achievement of our colleagues that they joined this competition and joined these skills. I offer to go on to our last part of our meeting, try a skill. We will show you 2 try skills, and our interpreter will help us to translate them. I will ask my colleague Alexandra to start the video of try skill. And you can leave your questions in the chat. After this try skill video, we will try to answer them or to forward them to our experts. So let's start.
So hello, it's skill aircraft maintenance. We are going to speak about workplace preparation, health and safety regulations when working with electrical equipment. And it's Svetlana Makusheva speaking. She's the skill deputy of the international expert. And today's lesson is devoted to aircraft electrical equipment. A reliable power supply system of the aircraft is a fundamental factor in flight safety. Electrical equipment units are to be of high quality, high mechanical and electrical strength with low weight and dimensions. And also, do not forget about such features as relative ease of operation, complete interchangeability of parts, and so on. So to maintain the airworthiness of the aircraft, it's necessary to maintain the electrical equipment in a good working condition. So before we start working, we have to make sure that all the tools are checked and that they are in working condition, that there is no any damage. If there is some, we need to stop working and report on it. So the tool for stripping the wires, which is called the wire stripper, in order to start stripping the wire, we set the tool to the caliber of the required size. We hold the handle, and just to prevent the popping out of the strip insulation, let go of the handle partially to open the clamping mechanism. Then remove the wire before the handle is fully open. Then release the handle so that the wire holder returns to the open position, and remove the stripped wire. So it's very important that after stripping the wires, they should be tightly twisted together in the same direction they were originally. A strip touch with jagged or cut veins is not allowed. This is not according to the standard specifications and technology. Now the tool that is being shown is scissors for wire cutting. It's called a wire cutter, just the same ordinary scissors. The main difference is sharp edges with a small sharpening angle, which allows you to cut the wire perpendicular to the direction of the course, which is according to the standard requirements. So it's very important that the cut is made strictly at an angle of 90 degrees. So the following tool is the tool for installation of plastic cable tiles, which is called plastic strap tool. So to install plastic ties, use the tool to stretch the free end of the following way. And then we pass the tip through the eye, then press the strap tightly. Now you can see in the screen a little bit different process. So we pass the free end of the cable tie through the slot at the end of the tool, then tightly press the tool to the latch, firmly pressing the strap of the side surface of the tool and turning it to face the clamp lock. So press the handle several times, but not completely, because this way we'll use the tool knife, and it's not what we want. Once the belt is stretched to the maximum, slowly and firmly squeeze, and this way you cut. So the next tool is crimp tool with crimps die set. Before you start working, you must check the condition of the matrix. It should be clean and with no extra objects inside. Otherwise, the tool may break. The matrices are installed on the ball lock. You need to force the upper and lower groove of the matrices to click. So special crimping pliers are used for crimping. You can see them now. In the tool set, there is a special tool with a set of matrices. Each matrix is used in a special case. This one, now we're going to speak about extractor. So the contacts are inserted and extracted using the appropriate extractor tool. All tools have the same basic design, but differ in size and color. So the tools are tapered at each end, one for insertion and one for extracting the contact. So we are going to insert the following way. Hold the colored half of the corresponding tool between your thumb and forefinger and do the insertion wire along the slot. Then insert the wire into the tool and pull the wire through the tool until the tip of the tool rests against the protrusion of the contact. Then slowly push the contact directly into the cavity of the electrical connector. You will certainly feel when the contact is locked in the connector lock. And then release the wire and pull out the tool itself. So how can we perform extraction? Turn the connector towards you. Put the white end of the tool of the appropriate size on the contact wire to be extracted. And just slowly insert the tool along the wire into the cavity until it sticks there and you feel some kind of positive resistance. So press the contact wire against the prongs of the plastic tool and just pull out the tool and the wire contact together. Now let's see how to work with this tool. So when selecting a tool, we refer to the tables, and having identified the desired tool, we check the functionality of its crimp coupling. So now we've chosen the tool. It's also important to remember that its functionality is tested every time before you start working with the tool. To do this, the kit has a calibration gauge consisting of 2 needles on a red, blue, green cylinder. You can see it now. The needles of this tool have different diameters, and check the convergence of the crimp pins in one specific position of the selector. This factor is determined upon checking. For each tool, you need to select one or another selector position, which is indicated on the caliber itself. After checking the tool itself, select the appropriate positioner. They are also listed in the reference table. You can see it now. This is done by orienting the head in the key position and by tightening the hex screws or by installing retainers depending on the tool. So the next step is to select the required crimping depth. It's done by setting the regulator in a certain position of the selector, which is located directly on the tool frame. The selector is attached to the frame with a pin for safety. You have seen it, the pin now. So squeeze the handles together as much as possible until the ratchet mechanism is activated. So the DMC 22520/201 tool, which is a smaller one, has similar working principle, but it's just more compact and convenient to use on board of the aircraft. So the next one is a multimeter. It's used to check the wire integrity as well as the equipment operability. To do this, you need to install the device's probes at different inputs and switch it to the electric circuit ringing mode. For example, if your multimeter doesn't have a ringing mode, switch it to the resistance measurement mode. So the next thing is the soldering station. It is used for performing soldering connections. Very important, before you start working, it's necessary to wet a special cleaning sponge with water and set the temperature corresponding to the selected solder. After heating is done, dip the soldering iron in the flux, you can see it now, and clean the tip on a special sponge. The next tool is a turbofan heat. It's used for shrinkage of tags and tubes. And when you are done with working with this tool, set the regulator to a cooling mode and just leave it to work for 2-3 minutes more to cool the tool down. So now we have reviewed the tools and equipment for installing electrical equipment systems on an aircraft, but this is not a final list. It also includes various tweezers, ticks, etc. That is all for today. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one more video. Alexandra, please start it.
So now we are going to speak about soldering, and we are working with aircraft power supply systems. And today we'll speak specifically about soldering. Again, Svetlana Markusheva, who is the deputy of the international expert for aircraft maintenance, is going to be speaking. So soldering is the formation of a compound with interatomic bonds as a result of heating the materials below their melting point, wetting them with solder, and after that, that solder penetrating all the gaps and its further crystallization. So for soldering, we are to use a metal or an alloy with a melting point lower than the melting point of the materials we want to solder. So to remove oxides from the surface of the soldered material and from the solder itself, and also to prevent their formation during the soldering process, an additional material called flux is used. So today we will look at soldering in the context of electrical connectors, bulbs, and terminal blocks. Soldering process is one of the most difficult ones because if you want to make it right, you need to follow a great number of rules. So first of all, we are not to forget that soldering is the process of working with metal heated to a liquid state. So you must follow the health and safety regulations, use personal protective equipment, use a fume extractor, and do not put easily flammable objects and liquids near the heating elements of the soldering station. I'd like to repeat once again, soldering is a very complex process and it requires a considerate approach to the work organization as well to the workplace preparation. Now we are going to prepare the workplace, remove all the necessary items, check whether the tool functions, and also check the date of the latest tests with a special cleaning sponge with water, and set the temperature corresponding to the selected solder. When you are done with heating, it's necessary to dip the soldering iron into the flux and clean the tip on a special sponge. So It is crucial to study the guidelines for using specialized equipment before using it, make sure that it functions well, and also check the flux expiration date. We prepare wires and all the structural elements for soldering, bulbs, electrical connectors, terminal blocks. So the soldering process itself consists of preparing parts for soldering, tinning with flux, adding solder to the soldering zone, and just heating the parts to the required temperatures. But before we start, we need to remove the wire insulation, and you are already familiar with this, so we're just going now to strip the wires. Now you can see it happening in the screen. So to prepare the part for soldering, we need it degreased, and we also to degrease the wire and the contact surfaces such as the contact plates or bulbs and the contact cavities of terminal blocks. After degreasing, we do the wire tinning. During that process, you need to apply as much solder to cover all the wires, and the wire structure should stay visible. Now you can see this process happening. It's very important when using a soldering station, follow these rules. The heating temperature of the parts should be 40-80 degrees higher than the melting point of the solder you use. The solder melting point is indicated on its package, and the tip temperature of the soldering iron should be 20-40 degrees higher than the heating temperature of the parts you're going to solder. So first, we will look at the process of bulb soldering. According to the existing standards, there are two methods to do that. The first one is a pen-style soldering with iron, or the second one, attachment to the contact plate itself. So the main difference is that in one case, we form the shape of the wire in advance, and in the other, the shape of the contact part is formed directly on the contact stamp. In both cases, the process requires much practice and skill. Keep in mind that you cannot use active acid fluxes for soldering electronic components. Better to use water or alcohol-based ones. The acid ones have good electrical conductivity, which can influence the work of your device, and they are also chemically active and can cause insulation destruction, metal corrosion, and in order not to damage the insulation of the wire, you must use thermal tweezers. So after you've connected parts, it's necessary to clean them with them well from excess flux. And it's very important if the solder at the junction has a specular uniform surface, it means that you did everything right. So now we are seeing the soldering terminal blocks. We again repeat the process of wire stripping, degreasing the soldering surface, and tinning the wire. For safety and convenience, we just put the terminal block into a rotary vise. Before soldering to the connector contacts, the wires must be fitted with insulation tubes with a diameter that ensures a tight fit after soldering on the contact or wire. Soldering on the surface must be shiny or matte without dark spots, cracks, sinks, dirt, sharp corners, extra inclusions, etc. The solder should penetrate the connection point from all sides, filling the gaps between the wires and the contacts with minor solder deposits on the outer surface of the contact. So the amount of solder required for soldering should be minimal. Soldering the wires to the terminal blocks should be carried out along the rows of contacts, starting from the bottom row from left to right. We wash the solder joint after installation and checking the quality of soldering. The insulation tubes should be pushed over the contact until it stops in the insulator of the connector. Next, we're going to solder the electrical connector. Repeat the process of wire stripping, degreasing the soldering surface, and tin the wire. For safety and convenience, again, we put the electrical connector in the rotary vise. We fill the contact with solder, then we heat the solder filled contact until it melts completely, and we gradually insert the pre-tinned wire all the way to the bottom. Now we are warming up the contact with a soldering iron until the solder completely spreads over the surface of the junction. what we suggest is that the position of the soldering iron tip in the connection area should make it possible for the parts to get the maximum amount of heat, and the wire insulation is protected from overheating. It's also important that the area of the gauge of the wires connected to the contacts of the connectors should not exceed the cross-sectional area indicated in the technical specifications for connectors of a specific type. If several wires of a smaller cross-section need to be soldered into one connector contact, then the course of all the wires must be twisted together like this, and the total diameter of the T-end wires must be less than the diameter of the connector contact. So we watch the solder joint and check the quality of soldering after we finish with this process. Actually, solder varieties are much broader than we have told you during this lesson. Soldering peculiarities have a number of advantages that are taken into account when deciding to use solder joints in aircraft maintenance. First of all, soldering makes it possible to produce complex components and entire structures. For example, combustion chambers consisting of several parts are created in a single production cycle, which allows us to consider soldering as a group method of connecting materials and turns it into a highly productive technological process that is easy to mechanize and automate. And among the very important advantages of soldering is the ability to connect dissimilar metals as well as metals with non-metals, for example, ceramic. With the help of soldering, you can get all-in-one in split connections. The latter is very important in the production of electronic equipment when there is a need to dismantle when setting up or replacing some defective devices and installed ones on the chain you already have. So the advantages of soldering listed above allow us to consider it as a progressive technological process that is becoming more widely used in the aircraft manufacturing industry. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Angelica. And we are coming to the end of our today's meeting. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing your opinion in the chat. And I see that we have several questions here. Is the competition held in Russian or in English? I will answer. The competition is held in Russian because it's a national competition, but we have about 20 skills international participants, guest participants participate in, and these competitions are held separately in Zoom, in English, or in some cases even in Chinese. One more question about the number of workstations on the venues, and I see that Ildar already answered this on the example of his venue. So is there any more questions? I see the question from Roy. For competition workstations in different regions, the tools and equipment is provided by WorldSkills Russia, or you are using the equipment from technical schools? I will try to answer. For some skills, we are using the equipment of technical schools, but if there are not enough equipment, WorldSkills is supporting with the equipment these venues. Is that so? How you are dealing with the differences in infrastructure? Before the start, our experts make an infrastructure list and send it to all the venues to participate, and the venues try to find equipment that is needed and that is included in the infrastructure list to be equal, to be the same as on the other venues. Any more questions? So if there are no questions, we will finish our meeting. Thank you for joining. I remind you that this meeting is recorded and it is available on our YouTube channel. If you want, you can rewatch it. If you want, you can share it with your partners or with your colleagues. And if you have any more questions, please share them in our Telegram chat or by email, or on the next meetings, you can share them as well. And the next meeting will be on Monday. The competition will work without a weekend, but our business mission goes to a weekend, and we'll see you on Monday at the same time at 2 p.m. And we will discuss implementation of online format on the example of building and construction sector. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's
See you
all
Monday.
possible. Thank you. Bye, Alexander.